a video edit. This is Nick with Mystic Manifesting here with, I already fucked it up. Courtney,
That's okay.
yeah, from Zenobia Consulting. I was like, I'm going to mess it up. I was about to say Courtney Zenobia
No,
from,
that's okay.
yeah, no, but it's
Everybody messes up my last name. That's okay.
It's like an alliteration. See,
Hmm.
Courtney Kaplan from Zenobia Consulting. Uh,
Yes.
we started talking, and we have some stuff that we could convey to you guys, some new reading materials, um, other cool stuff that she's enlightened me to from the psychology side. As you guys know, I have a fascination with psychology. You know, I like Jordan Peterson and other psychology stuff like that. I've studied it. There is a connection between that and manifesting. She got me reading the book. Can you say the name?
I don't have. I have Maxwell Maltz book. This is the companion to it. But you were Psycho-Cybernetics was the one you and I talked about. But this is another really good one. If you guys want.
Yeah, cyber psycho. No, I'm not going to be able to say it. Too much.
Psycho-Cybernetics. Yeah.
Yeah, too much for me. Um, so you got me reading that book, but let me introduce what you do. I'm going to read it the way you wrote it. She did a very
Okay.
nice outline for me. As you guys know, I go in shooting from the hip. So Courtney marries the spiritual, manifesting self-concept and with traditional to get you self-understanding and solutions from your first session. She also does individual guided meditations custom to your issues and goals. Her contact information is down below, and it's not right now, but it will be later. Um,
Mm.
it will be her phone number, and I'll put it in after we're done, and then it will be down there. Um, so we'll go from there. But basically, you bring spirituality to regular counseling, and I mean, there's
Mhm.
I've seen this. It's a lot of parallels. Like I'm teaching manifesting, but then the stuff I knew from psychology and from my own just mentality of going through things, you
Mhm.
end up also kind of becoming a counselor too in the coaching sessions and giving practical advice too. So that's why I've learned that you can marry the two, and they do go hand in
Mhm.
hand with along with like the religious stuff and other mythologies and things like that. All the stuff kind of ties together.
Mhm.
So um,
Way back when I started, when I did, so my grad degree is in industrial psychology, and it was kind of weird because I went to a Catholic grad school.
yeah,
So you'd think like they would be into spirituality. There were monks
yeah,
walking around, and there was like religious archives, and but I wanted to. It was very cold. Psychology back when I was doing it. This is 15 plus years ago when I got my grad degree, and I got my undergrad. You know, I've been studying psychology academically for 25 years. It was cold. It was CBT, which is cognitive behavioral therapy, also known as you lie on a couch and you talk. And are you waving?
I
And
was
it was,
they're all commenting, but I didn't want to cut you off, and I forgot to say hi to everyone. So it's hi
oh, that's
everybody.
okay. That's okay. You got to cut me off because I'll just keep talking. That's the problem.
I'm the
But
You've seen my live streams. I'm the same way, but I usually don't have no one to talk to.
yeah.
It's the chat drives.
So when I did second, so it was that CBT, and it was also very everything was Freudian, right? I was the only Jungian. If you guys know anything about psychology, there's these two major camps, and it's Jung and Freud. Freud is that guy we all know about, the
Yeah,
mother complex, all that stuff.
yeah,
Jung always, people say he was a student of Freud. They were kind of contemporaries. Jung was always about the archetypes. He was about the dream world. He was about the symbol.
yeah,
It was very mystical.
yeah, yeah. I've read
Very,
some before too. Yeah, I think that's Jordan Peterson is more in that camp
mhm,
too, which is what I
very
like.
much.
Yeah,
Very much, yeah. So when I went to do turn in like a thesis, it was like no spirituality, and I'm like, so think back to like the mid aughts and the early 2010s. Like it was a very weird time, and it was. I was told people did not want spirituality, and it was people were going away from the church,
yeah,
and
yeah,
I never dug that. Like I never was down with that. I was always raised, you don't go to the therapist, you go to the psychic. You
yeah,
you
yeah,
analyze your dreams because they're
yeah,
part of you, they come from you, right?
yeah,
So I just started doing, like you were talking about gonzo journalism, I just started doing gonzo therapy, and
yeah,
I
yeah.
started integrating that. And after grad school I went and I studied physics, and so I just married all of it together into like a quantum psychology.
That's awesome. That's because that's
Mhm.
what I've seen and I've learned is like Like I have a friend who I'm gonna go be going live with probably next week or the week after. She's a medium, and it's
Mhm,
like I found parallels between the mediums and this.
mhm,
And I know it's like what is it? A psychic.
mhm,
Ed, who's been very much
mhm,
on point with some predictions, but at the same time, from where I'm coming from with manifesting, I will say the only thing I see with the psychic and the tarot cards would be this is your current life track, and
mhm,
it's you could guide yourself off of whatever path
mhm,
you're on or continue onto it, like just like
mhm,
a which is a lot of ways to check in with stuff. But like I
mhm,
see, like there's a medium, there's a psychic, here's the
mhm,
mystic, here's the church and the religious people. They're getting their manifestations too, and like
mhm,
everybody, like, people who believe that like if I just go balls to the wall at psychology, I'll get my manifestation. They get it, and it's like whatever you believe is going to work. That's why I said earlier to a client, I said that there are no rules, you make the rules, and
mhm,
like there's people like even Neville started out with astrology and then he moved there, so it's
mhm,
like I say at the end of the day, I'm like I keep repeating this point, but it's like we're all in this together. We all have our own ways to do it, but we're all going to help each other to get to where we want, and we all just want to live the life of our dreams. So that's why I'm interested in like doing lives like this, where it's like, oh, okay, cool, like seeing other perspectives of it and seeing how they overlap. Because I've only seen overlapping. It's like quantum physics too. Like so now it's like the science
mhm,
realm over medical realm overlaps with manifesting, and it's like it's just like a core, like it's like a law, the law of assumption, a law in the universe.
mhm. Absolutely. Did you ever read, and I'll bring this up kind of off the cuff, talk about the quantum. Did you ever read or look at reality transurfing? Do you know
I
about that?
watched videos on it and I've heard of it, and I watched. There's coaches that I have been a fan of when I was still learning that
Mhm,
quantum surfing and
mhm.
uh, like or what was it, reality
Reality
transurfing,
transurfing. Mhm,
basically jumping to a parallel reality, which there are times where I've felt that, like even in terms of like with my SP, it's like, man, you're sitting here and it's like this person, how could this person ever be that person? But then like the person I met, how was it ever this other person? And it's like you
mhm,
got like you're jumping somewhere where and then you look at yourself, it's like, look where I was then, and now I know I took moves to be there, but I can't even believe it's like this is a whole nother person who I am now going
yeah,
in terms of concept. But it's just whatever road you take to get there. It's like you obviously you're getting to another destination, but you have to take a road there, and whether it's through religion, through manifesting, through therapy, uh,
mhm.
consulting, whatever you go through, you're taking that road to get to whatever you want to be
Absolutely.
at.
Absolutely.
But what was your point going to be on it? I know you were asking me about it.
No, that's okay. So reality transurfing was written by a physicist.
Really?
And yeah, and it was funny because it was written many, many, many years ago. I think it was in that early 2000s, 2010 time period.
Yeah.
Vinny in Zealand, he wrote it. And it was actually like illegal. It was a like, like you kind of, they made handwritten copies and like gave it to people. It was not published.
Really?
You couldn't have the book. It was very underground. And then finally they got it here. They got it out of Russia at the time.
Well,
And
you're
I,
saying early 2000s and 2010s. You mean the 1900s or even
no,
like
no,
thousands?
that, yeah, like right now. Yeah,
Like
2010.
we were alive during it. They had to
Mhm.
smuggle it out.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And he figured out, he's a physicist, and he literally figured out this is how you jump. Now, the book is, I have a copy of it if you want me to run and get it. It's like a phone book. If you guys remember
Yeah.
a phone book, it was real thick.
Yeah.
I think it's like 800 pages, and then there's some compendiums. But it talks exactly how to do it on a like, it's almost like reading instructions.
Yeah.
Very heavy, but
That would be something I'd be interested in reading. Like this is something where it's like, not only do am I interested in like testing the law, finding things I want, and like picturing what I want to get and live that type of life, but at the same time, like testing out my own methods and stuff. I like to read what other people did. It's like almost like a passion to it, and like
yeah.
because there's a way of life. Like I've been saying in the videos, this is a lifestyle that you're living because you can't turn it off. And when
Mhm.
people, when can I stop doing self concept? You can never fucking stop. It's too late. You're
You
stuck.
can't. It's like red pill, blue pill. It's like once you
Yeah,
take it, you're done.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's like yeah, once you take it, you can never go back. No matter how
Mhm.
much. There were times like when I started waking up to stuff, and I was like, I just want to go back. I just want, and you can't. There's no way back. Once you've taken it, that's it.
You
you know,
can.
manifesting world now.
That's what happened. So, like, I was in the psychology world. I went to school when I first went back in the late 90s. When I found psychology, I'm like, oh, I can figure out my family and I can figure out why I'm so messed up, right? So I studied psychology all these years. I graduate grad school, and it was really funny. I went to go work for a physicist, which is how I a mathematician, which is how I got into physics. And he said, why do you, he's Russian. He goes, why do you study physics? Why do you study psychology? I said, to understand the brain. And he goes, do you? And I went, I don't. I didn't get any answers. And
Yeah,
he said, study physics if you want to know. And he was correct. He was absolutely correct. That
yeah.
had more answers. And that's
It,
what all this is. All this is just energy.
yeah, it's crazy how all this stuff ties together. And it was like when I told my medium friend the other day, when we were trying to plan out a live stream, she was like, "Well, how do I bridge my followers who are just trying to reconnect with loved ones who have passed on to your thing, where it's usually people want to get their ex back or manifest money or a specific thing?" And I'm like,
Mhm,
well, both areas are coming from trauma. You're going to a place which is like the way she describes it. And like when I do the live with her, it will be a little bit more in depth, but it's like basically I'm seeing like you're going to the 4D, just like we're going to the 4D, just we're imagining something that hasn't happened yet. You're making contact with something that has already been, that's like in the next realm. Like Neville said, we're never ending beings and all the potential is right here and right now. So it's like,
mhm,
man, you get all the way into the mystical, the esoteric, and the religion. Like I told her, what if everything is right? And like that's the only we tried
yeah,
wrapping our around it for like 2 hours, seeing all the similarities, and it's like
mhm,
the similarities and the differences, but it's like at the same time, but what if it's all right at the
mhm.
end? The headache from here all the way back. I'm like, oh my god, the
Yeah,
load trying to make the connection. But
yes.
that's like not oversimplify things, but just keep it simple. I like to say
Mhm.
KISS, keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah, no. But it's
And
like everything that science is doing, we're literally just proving all the stuff that the ancient people knew. And it's just one giant circle. It's all the same stuff,
yeah,
you
it's like yeah,
know.
you go back and you read like I've read obviously like the Bible and I'm rereading it now. I've read Neville's books, which Neville's more modern. I've read the Tao Te Ching. You
Mhm,
look at like all the Stoics, all the stuff
mhm,
they're saying. It's like okay, it's been put into practice throughout the ages. Then you go to Neville, it's like more modern. Then the psychologists pick it up. Then the doctors like Joe Dispenza pick it up, and then
mhm.
scientifically being proven. It's like what the hell? It's like it's all
Yeah,
right.
yeah, absolutely.
What's up, John? Just tuned in. Welcome in. So yeah, let's see what else we're gonna say. I like how you made this little like outline because knowing me, like I'm coming in half cocked and we're going and whatever like that's where it's like chat drive the chat. uh,
Mhm,
but we were gonna talk about today. Oh, so you came up with a main topic for it, which is pretty good too. So today we're going to be discussing how perception changes everything,
mhm.
general topic, and the book
Cybernetics.
cybernetics. Yeah. So I don't know why I've said it before, but this past 2 weeks since we've been talking about it, it's not happening for me saying it. But it's like that cliche that I always say: when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. That's the most
Yeah.
true thing I've seen, and it's like, wow, that really works out. And then in the book,
Mhm,
if you don't know, the book is written by a guy named Maxwell Maltz. I started reading it. I'm not done with it, but Courtney recommended it to me. That's the compendium for it, and it's like 10 hours, I think, maybe 12 on YouTube. But I
yeah.
went started reading the book, and it's like, okay, yeah, this matches up with a lot of the manifesting stuff that I've put into practice or I've studied from people, and
Mhm,
it's like, okay, I see where this works. But the guy is not only an author; he was a plastic surgeon back in the early days. Like, was it 30s, 40s, 50s?
mhm,
Because he died in the 80s or something. But he was a plastic surgeon, and the premise of it is in certain parts of the world, if it's more appealing to have a scar on your face, like there were like guys who were into fencing. If they have scars on their faces, they're more confident. But if you're a salesman with a scar on
mhm,
your face, you're a horrible salesman because you want it removed. You feel like it's hindering you. So you're taking something on the outside, which is your external appearance,
mhm,
and you believe because you look that way or you are that way, that's no because you look that way, that's how things are. So you're going off looks. But then when he changes their looks, it changes their feeling. So if you the premise of it is if you could change your feeling first without changing the external will change, and that's
mhm,
pretty much what I've experienced too. It's like when you
mhm.
change the way you look at things and how you feel about them and how you feel about yourself, the actual things on the outside start changing. Once again, proving the world is a mirror.
It
Hey,
actually I got a weird story about that one. I actually have a scar right here. I had 22 stitches right here.
oh wow, I
And you
can't tell.
just you want I can't tell.
But no, I can't.
Every time I've been to a doctor's office or I've been to a surgeon's office or whatever, the first thing they take their little pen and they go, I can fix that. I got it when I was 8 months old. So I've had it my whole life. I literally don't think about it. I forget I have
Yeah.
it. At some point, I think I was like 19 or 20, I went to a doctor. I was actually ironically picking my mom up from plastic surgeon. Shakes my hand. I'm not there. I'm just there to pick her up. And he goes, I can fix that. And I said, I don't care about it.
Yeah.
From that day on, nobody ever mentioned it. There are people I will know for 20 years that will say, I never noticed you had a scar because I don't notice it.
Exactly.
22 stitches is not a small scar, you know.
No, yeah, but I mean, I literally can't even see it right now. I know it's because we're also going through iPhones, and it might
Mhm,
maybe person, whatever. But it's like the same thing with my chest. It's like right here, I'm missing
mhm,
part of the muscle. And when I
mhm,
first tore it, I'm like, everyone's gonna notice. I can never compete in bodybuilding, blah blah blah. All these things. I'm never gonna be in shape. And what happens? I start getting down on myself. People are sympathizing with me,
mhm,
and it's simply getting sympathy. And victim mentality at the time. It's like, oh, that feels kind of good. But then it makes you feel worse about yourself, and it's like, what's the point of the gym? So then I start eating like shit, and I stop working out. Now I'm getting fatter. Now it's becoming more noticeable. Then people are saying stuff about it. So it's like, okay, fuck it, I'm gonna fix this. Then you take actions and you
mhm,
start, because it's like I don't notice it anymore. And then like even when there's times where I was looking through an old video today, I actually posted not this clip of it, but I went through an old video, saw a video where I'm like, oh look, and I flex like this. I'm like, actually, and I was pointing out that I could see it and no one else can, and I
mhm.
legitimately couldn't see it in the video. And then rewatching it, I'm like, I can't really even notice.
Yeah.
And that was when I wound up tearing the chest. My manifestation was I went, like I said, there's no rules to it. I was still learning manifestation. I went and actually went to the Catholic Church and prayed. So I went by the statue of Mary, and then that's like just going to an idol and praying. And then
Mhm,
it's just like, all right, I just want to be able to keep my job, have full range of motion, and get my strength back. I don't care if there's a deformity in it. Those were
mhm,
the things I asked for, and I believed. And then I got up and I went for a walk, smoked a cigar, and I just trusted it was done. Next day, I get a call from the doctor. You'll have all your range of motion. You can keep your job, go back to work right now, and you'll have all your strength back. But
mhm,
I'm like, man, I wish I didn't ask for that part. And I was like, well, now it's too late. What if I just said, oh, there's no deformity? And then I still kept noticing, but then I would just robotically affirm it here and there, not like all day. There's no, 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 no. I did do that for a couple of weeks, but it was like Neville said, the vain repetition. Eventually I go on, and a couple of weeks later, I stopped thinking about it. Nobody
mhm,
noticed it. I'm working out, I'm strong again, and I'm looking through old videos, and like, Mr. Gary, the editor, is here too. He's posting, helping me do some workout videos and edit them to mix with Mystic. And it's like he sent me some of the previews. I'm like, I don't even see it. So,
mhm.
but it's
Yeah,
here first. If I was just going to look at this, I'll still see it until today.
it is. It is. It's funny you were saying that you were talking about the like being careful what you ask for. I'm
Yeah,
finishing up Invisalign right now.
yeah,
And I have like 2 more trays left, and they had to send them off to a special lab. I write a script every single night. So
yeah,
if your listeners wanna, every night I write it like I'm writing a movie script, cast.
yeah,
I'm the author, I'm the director, right? And then the cast and who the people I wanna see that day.
yeah.
And well, I wrote down, the orthodontist calls me today. I was not specific though. The orthodontist did call me today. Not because my new trays are in, because they need to recast my teeth.
Oh,
So be very specific, be
yeah.
very
It's like,
careful when you ask for things.
ask very specifically. It's like I was doing visualizations to have a convertible and do a video in it, but I know what I like, and my SP is actually the one pointing out, you know what type of cars you like,
Mhm,
but I'm trying to copy because a car that the guy who inspired me in the fitness realm presented itself, and it's not even a brand I'm really into, but it's like, oh, maybe I have to do it because of that. It's like, no, it's not what you want, which brings me to that Neville story too, where like the people wanted to build their apartment and they're like, nope, nope, and they're turning down great deals. I had a chance to get a free convertible, but it was old and beat up. I'm like, nope, I don't want to beat up one. And then she was the one who kind of pointed me to be more specific
mhm,
on, yeah, it's true. It's like you have to know your exact target. It's like, I had a client the other day talking about like everywhere he's hitting bullseyes in his life, but
mhm,
and because the SP thing took him so far off base, it's like other women are coming into his life. So it's like you're hitting the target, but not the bullseye. So it's like you have to be so specific, and that's what sucks.
it does, it does.
So but such, but it's also a blessing because when you're very specific, you do get exactly what you want.
Mhm.
That's the nice part about this. That's why I like law of assumption instead of like law of attraction. It's like your vibrations and stuff. It's like, yes, that works and you do get that, but
Mhm.
you get kind of what you want to
Mhm.
get park.
Would you consider, so to kind of get back on the thing, would you consider that a birds before land if you get close?
Yes.
Okay.
That, I would call it, and then it's also how you identify it too. I would call that how you identify it, because you have a note there about birds before land too. When they pop
Mhm.
up and what they mean the
Mhm.
same thing as like when people see angel numbers or signs or whatever.
Mhm.
Those are just numbers and they're just things in the world. You're the
Mhm.
one who gives them a sign and says what they mean. And like there was a time where like I was looking for signs everywhere, but I stopped
Mhm.
looking for signs. I started making signs. It's like, oh, the grass is green today. Oh, SP wants me. Oh, the sun is out and the sky is blue. Oh man, I'm gonna get rich or I'm gonna do this. So, but it was always like more. It was more in the SP realm though when I was manifesting. So it's like, I mean, there was even a time where it's like I've never seen the trucking company with the name Neville on it before or after this day where I was having a
Mhm.
breakdown and a truck turned and it said no, it didn't say Neville. It said Goddard on it. I've never seen that before, but it said Goddard on the trailer, and I was like, I've never seen that in my
Mhm.
entire life anywhere near Chicago, and I've never seen it since. And it's like every time I saw a hawk, it's like that's a sign. If I saw any three sequence of a number, even 666, it's like
Mhm.
Catholic and Christian thing. It's like you see 666, it's oh mark of the beast, it's evil. I'm like, I don't identify with evil. It's a good sign for me. Everything's a good sign for me,
Yeah.
and all these good blessings started appearing in my life. So yeah,
I said that to somebody the other day. I'm like, why is 444 an angel number and 666? I'm like,
yeah.
it's, yeah, it's what you assign to it. Absolutely.
Yeah. So it's like that's and like that goes down to your mental diet, and I guess that could go into like what you teach and like stuff like the
Mhm.
psychology of it is like
Mhm.
your mental diet is everything is positive, everything's working
Mhm.
out. And my favorite affirmation, you can't fuck this up. That's
Yeah.
the merch,
Mhm.
which is coming in by the way, guys. There's stuff over there. I just don't feel like grabbing it right now. A
Mhm.
few things came in. Let's see what we got to think. Ink says, I think BBL means your brain is saturated enough to start showing you what you're thinking about. Yes, I think it is like it's a saturated and you're getting like I said, you're seeing signs and identifying it as signs.
Mhm.
It's like you're trying to manifest SP, but if you're a guy and a girl's coming up to you or a girl and a guy's coming up to you and it's not your SP, you think, oh, things aren't working out for me. It's like, no, I'll take this. I'm grateful for it. It's like God's giving you a gift. The universe is giving you a gift. What are you going to do with the gift? If somebody gives you a gift and you're like, that's not what I was hoping for, like you want a video game that's whatever game, and someone gives you socks and you're like, oh, I wanted the game, and you think that person's ever going to give you a gift again? No, they're going to be like, fuck you. So being thankful for what you got too, and that move gratitude or pretending the thing you got is what you want.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's
Because
all
I'm
acts.
sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, no, I'll
It's
keep
birds before land is everybody pushed out? Is you being everybody pushed out, right?
exactly. Yeah,
So, do you know about like glitches in the matrix, right? You've heard about this?
yeah. I've heard about it, seen videos like birds stuck in the air. I seen one like that the other day, and I was looking. I almost crashed. I was looking.
Mhm.
It's like the videos online, and I seen it just stuck there. But I'm like, there's got to be some kind of explanation.
Yeah. So if I can go way into like crazy tinfoil hat territory, which is where I live,
I love.
but there's there's these glitches in the matrix. But here's the thing: so what's the matrix, and who created the matrix? So there is, if this is all a simulation, which is why we can run it with our brains, which is why it's all coming. It's the hologram that's coming from. This is one of my favorite books ever. We'll talk about this in a little bit.
Yeah,
It's a hologram that's coming from inside of our brain, which is what Neville teaches us, right? So are the BBLs, and I gotta say birds before land, because
I was
whenever I think BBL,
land because my mind is going right to ass cheeks every time
yeah,
we.
mine too. No, mine. I'm thinking of the Kardashians every time I hear
Yeah.
BBL. But we're is it so I'm gonna try to not go too far into down the rabbit hole, but so if there is a creator,
Yep.
so there's creator, we're the creator, whichever side you're on doesn't matter. So if there's an architect, I have heard it that this is all a computer simulation.
Mm,
Well, computer simulation, computers are written, everything is code.
yeah.
So whenever you see something, how it was explained to me is the coder, and anybody who works in computers knows this, the coders get bored, they get lazy. You can just copy and paste code to fill shit in. Sorry, fill stuff in. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Um,
You've seen my channel.
Okay,
Like,
well, I just want to make sure.
the
I just want
merch
to make
on it. Like,
sure. I'm living here in the South. I got to watch my P's and Q's down here, but
oh, that's yeah.
bless their heart.
Like,
So you
I
get
like
they
cussing there.
no, yeah, cussing.
Cussing,
so,
swearing.
um, so they cut and paste code to save time because it's much more efficient. Like in a video game, when you're playing a video game, they don't have the whole entire universe constructed in the video game. It's just like a little bit ahead of where you're playing, and it keeps populating, right?
Yeah,
So to me, the birds before land, and to me, like a lot of the things that we see, is literally it's already up here. And either we're cutting and pasting it or some cosmic coder is cutting and pasting it. So when we write those lists down, like if we do the list technique, like free cup of coffee, like free parking spot, whatever,
yeah,
it's just they're just cutting and pasting to
yeah.
fill stuff in.
I've heard about that theory before too, where it's like if you're not at your house doesn't exist. You only see the 200 feet in front of you or whatever's around you.
Mhm,
Get there, it renders based off your imagination. Like that map is always going to be the same on like an old school video game. Even
mhm,
always going to be the same, but as you get closer, it's appearing. But it's not like a game where you see most of it and the rest is grayed out. It's
yeah,
you're like you see further, like as far as you can see, is what's there. So I've heard that theory before, and that does support the simulation theory.
mhm,
And then the way you could incorporate that there is a creator and a god is
mhm,
that we're here. Like this is I guess this is kind of what I subscribe to more or less. Would be if everyone is you pushed out and we're all connected. um,
mhm,
if like Aaron inked. Oh yeah, I forgot you said you're cool with Aaron, but telling you it's like Star Trek holodeck. Yeah, you were telling me about that.
mhm,
Star Trek. I gotta watch it. And because of you program it and you walk into your world. Exactly. Yeah. So it's like okay, if everyone's you pushed out and we're all one, and I mean, then you go back to religious texts and stuff like that.
mhm,
They're saying we're all connected. They're saying that God lives through us. We're here to
mhm,
experience different states, and those states and living in those and living these different lifestyles is how God experiences what He created.
mhm,
And we are the player in the game. So he's playing. How was it? 8 billion people on the planet. He's playing 8 billion games at once because
mhm,
someone who, like a creator, is going to be in the fourth or fifth. Or was it the fifth dimension? Can see through everything.
mhm,
So like what? It's like looking at a dollhouse from the outside. You can see what's happening in every room
yeah,
all at the same time.
mhm,
So that's where it gets really deep and goes into like too much where it's like let's just like me and my friend who's a medium we just chucked it to, all right, everything and everyone is right. like
why
like
not?
people go to war over it about
Mhm,
wrong, and it's like what if everyone was right and we just accept everybody's idea and respect it.
yeah, that'd be too boring.
Yeah, yeah, no,
Yeah.
then that'd be like playing The Sims versus playing
Yeah.
Grand Theft.
Versus Halo. Yeah.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
Halo.
Yeah. My
It's-
grandpa used to say he'd say God is the cloud and we're all the raindrops.
that's yeah, that's a good way to put it too.
Yeah.
That it's a, yeah, we all come from the source, and then at the end we return to it.
Mhm.
Right,
Yeah.
we get sucked back up with the humidity.
Yeah.
I need a list of these books before the end of the live. We'll get them, Gary. I'll put them in the. I'll
Mhm.
have them to me, and I can put them through the in the copy or in the bio
Mhm.
or whatever it is description. He said, "Be polite." Bless his heart. Who said be polite? Ink? Be polite.
I don't know. They say bless your heart a lot down here, I'll tell you that.
Oh, Ink is from the south too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Where's Ink from?
Florida.
Oh, okay.
Which I would have never anticipated Florida being classified as a southern state, but one of my best friends is originally from Florida, and he was sir, ma'am, y'all,
Mhm.
and saying cussing and stuff like that. And it's
Mhm.
talk like you're from the South, and he's like, Florida is the South.
Yeah. It depends where. I used to live on the Gulf Coast of Florida and it was all Germans and Yankees. Like it seems like the coasts are Yankees and the inside is very southern. So
Yeah. Wait, I said bless her heart, bless his.
mm-mm.
I don't remember saying it.
Well, it's I learned down here. Talk about perception. It can be good or but I got down here because I'm from Philadelphia. Um, so I just take things at face value, like I'm just black and white, whatever. And people would be kind of passive aggressively be being rude to me, and I had no clue. Like, they would say, "Bless your heart," and that meant, "Oh, you're so stupid," is
Yeah.
what that meant, and I'm like, "Oh, thank you," you know?
Oh, that.
So
Oh, yeah. It does mean. I mean, it does. It is insinuating.
mhm.
Yeah.
So it's all about perception, really.
But if
I
you
think
that's oh, thank you for that blessing. That's where I'm talking.
yeah.
Program your mind where it's like someone could be insulting you, but hey, I only take
Mhm,
it best possible meaning. Nobody can hurt me. And it's like to borrow a stoic line from
mhm.
I don't know if you ever watched Jocko Willink or David
Oh,
Goggins,
yeah.
where like Jocko says good, his speech about good, that everything that happens is good. It's like
Mhm,
our gear's messed up, so we have to use the old gear. Good, we're used to using it. Or we
mhm,
all our old stuff, we have to use the new. Good, it's a chance to learn. So it was like whatever happens to you in life, it's always good because you're
mhm,
identifying it that way, and you're not looking for the negative. You're always looking for the positive, and that's like you're surviving. Or
mhm,
David, embrace the suck. When people are trying to fuck with you on the outside world, like in his case, like they're pushing the training even harder. People are crying and ready to give up. He
yep,
says he's like laughing and smiling, saying, "Who's going to carry the damn boats?" I mean, I've experienced that in the world too, especially in the trades. People will be like, "Oh yeah, and you got to do this and this and this." All right, cool. I can't.
mhm,
Uh, I'm in the trades, but it's like, oh, you get to go sweep or put stuff away because it's classified as like a bitch job. So it's like,
mhm.
and it's like, all right, cool. You're gonna pay me big money to do that,
Yeah,
and then it's like, then that sits in their head, and that's how you take people's souls. And
absolutely.
by, you know, changing your perception, no one could hurt you. Can't be hurt.
Mhm.
And then Ink says, yes, it has a double meaning. So bless your heart's good
Oh,
and bad.
yeah. A lot of stuff in the South has double meaning. I had to learn that the hard way.
Yeah.
I didn't know people didn't like me, and then I was like, "Oh, whatever." Yeah.
Yeah, I got it.
But you were talking about the like, how you have to perceive it. It's kind of funny. It's going back to the psychology aspect of it. In the Jocko, you know, uh, David Goggins, when there's a lot in psychology where it's a pat on the head. You go in, you talk, you have your 50-minute hour, and
Yeah,
I found, at least how I was originally taught, this is years ago, it was you identify with the client, which is totally fine because you have to meet them where they're at. But it was like, let them figure it out. So there was a lot of like head patting and like, oh, you poor baby, that happened to you. You're such a victim. I
putting
couldn't get
continuous.
down with that.
Yeah,
Couldn't. It was like and that's why, so like what I do a lot with clients is changing that self-perception from a victim to a victor. And
yeah,
like, no, we're gonna do this. We're gonna make a plan. You're gonna work through this. We're gonna
yeah.
stay on top of it. Mhm.
And I mean, like I was saying earlier, like I had aspirations at one point to go into the psychology thing, and then in a weird way, I wound up doing that. And
Mhm,
then this is what I talked about in another stream, where it's like everything in my life has worked out and turned out the way I wanted. I wanted to be an
mhm.
entertainer.
Yeah.
Well, thanks to Gary helping me edit these videos too. It's like I'm making cool stuff, and it's also motivating people. So I'm motivating. I'm still lifting my weights, and that's part of it, and my comedy's part of it. But it's like
Mhm,
I wanted to be a psychologist at one point. Boom,
mhm,
and that kind of opens up this realm. But
mhm,
I didn't identify with when I was younger, and people know this on the channel. It's like I went through a dark period where it's like, okay, I'm just like in a horrible state of like wishing I was praying I didn't wake up most days. So I
mhm,
was so it's like, okay, I'll go see a psychiatrist or whatever, or a
mhm,
shrink or what I don't know, psychologist, therapist. He was like, there's different terms, and technically, I'm like, you're a guy you have to talk to help me fix my problems, right? So I go there, but I didn't like it. The only thing, like, there was an arrogance factor, and I'm like, I
mhm,
could do better than this guy if I became one because he's arrogant. And he goes, oh, my brother wanted to be an actor. Big thing was like I was struggling with I wanted to be an actor and not work a day job, and then um,
mhm,
the dreams can come true. And I always knew there was a degree of truth to manifesting, but I didn't know as much as I know now, so I couldn't make it happen at the time. So it was like, um, I'm there. He goes, well, my brother was an actor. He moved to LA and blah blah blah. And he goes, he's been in films. I'm like, that's good. He goes, yeah. And you know what? He became a really good waiter in the meantime. And I'm like, that line right there made me want to get up and like just crack him in the mouth because you don't even.
mhm.
I would never talk about my brother that way. I'll break
Yeah.
my brother's balls, but I won't like talk shit about him
Not in
like that.
public. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then like, the whole thing was like he was just trying to tell you whatever you wanted to hear. So I'm like, this is just
Mhm,
bullshit. This is a waste of
mhm,
money. Um, it's like, yeah, I don't like living under my parents' roof and stuff like that, but I hate this job. Why don't you quit the job and move out? Well, that's a I can't like let's
mhm,
realistically here at the same time. So that's why I do with my coaching. It's like,
mhm,
okay, I'm gonna tell you how to manifest. I'm gonna tell you what I did. We're gonna give you a custom plan, but at the
mhm,
same time, we're going to look at it logically. We're going to look at what's going on in the 3D. How do you address it? What's your mental standpoint? And it's going to be practical advice to move you forward while still embracing the miracles that can happen
Mhm.
without taking like a crazy leap where it's like, if you take too crazy of a leap, you're not going to believe it and you're going to have too much fear and it's not going to happen. We'll gradually move it through. So, and then
Absolutely.
build up your self concept because a regular therapist is going to leave you crybaby, like you were saying, like they leave you in the crybaby state
Oh, yeah.
they don't move you out. And then, like you said, they got to meet them where they are. That's why it's like, because
Mhm.
all the things I went through with the SP journey, I can meet you where you are there. The
Mhm.
financial, like I've done well, but I'm not where I want to be. But I can still meet people who've been lower than me, where I've been in that state. And I think
Mhm.
that's pretty much where you come from too. Even though
Yeah.
you're more, I don't like say quote unquote like more legit, but like professional.
I'm way more legit.
Yeah, yeah, way more legit because
I
it's
am,
not.
I am.
I'm telling you're not talking about magic and manifesting and stuff like that. I don't think with your clients directly, or do you?
Depends. Depends
Okay,
on the client.
you got to.
So, well, let me go back to something else you said that was really important. A lot
Yeah,
of things in traditional therapy, you get that 15-minute hour. And I don't know how it is now, but back when I was in school, we were taught you give them a 15-minute hour. So you leave everybody in a cliffhanger. You leave clients that are already distraught, upset, in a state of suspended anxiety.
yeah,
Like, who does that? Like, and that's a whole industry. And then
yeah,
you collect your money from the insurance. Like, it's such a system. I couldn't participate. I just went rogue.
yeah.
Um, but you were saying about as far as with clients, do I talk about? I call it woo woo. I'll kind of just throw that word out there for certain
Yeah.
clients.
We all know in the community what it is woo woo, but
Yeah.
it's not.
Woo woo.
We to the normies who don't understand it.
Mhm. And everybody has a different level of woo woo.
Yeah,
I have a whole room full of tinfoil hats, so I'll go talk about aliens any day. But
yeah. I'm always up for that too.
mhm. So yeah, so certain clients, and it's never the ones you think either. It's never the ones you think. There are
No,
some people that are very super straight laced or super religious or super like, and they're the most either open to learning it or they've had mystical experiences
yeah,
that have stuck with them and never got to talk to anybody. So yeah, I kind
yeah,
of tailor it to everybody's level of woo woo.
yeah. No,
Mhm.
that's why I try to like pick up too. It's like, am I going to start? I mean, mine's always going to go that way. We're always because
Mhm.
I mean, if we're going with mystic manifesting with uh with the wolf with glowing eyes and
Yeah.
and the everything I have, but it's like we're going with that. So it's like I will always take it to that level, but it's like you always got to feel people out to see where how to move the thing. And like you said, that I agree with that too. It's like, oh, you have 1 hour. Every hour session I have is an hour and 15, an hour 20. It's
Mhm.
you're getting an extra 15, 20 minutes for free because I remember when I did, I
Mhm.
mean, I only did like 4 or 5 sessions, but it's like, okay, this guy got me talking. Now he's kicking me out. And it's like,
Yeah.
and I know, what's it called? That I've had clients come to me from other coaches and like, I don't name names or nothing, but they've come to me
Mhm.
from other and said, yeah, at 45 minutes, they hung up. Like, well, not directly like "Ooh, ooh," turned off, but like they're wrapping you up at like 35, 40 minutes. And it's
Mhm.
like, what I've learned in my thing is your first 10 to 15 to 20 minutes is the setup. That's
Yeah.
the action. Then we got like 15, 20 minutes of meat,
Mhm.
and then we got to go into the closing and falling action.
Mhm.
And you know what? A good person sits through the credits, which is that last 15 to
Yeah.
20. So yeah, I agree with you. That's where I come from. And let's see, we got
I
a question.
had I had oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
Oh no, no. If you want to finish your thought, now I'll check the question.
I had 2 clients, it's only Tuesday. I had 2 clients this week who had unexpected deaths, right, in their family.
Yeah,
And you don't my father just passed away in May unexpectedly. And you don't get somebody on the phone and they go, "Okay, we're at 50 minutes. Gotta
yeah,
go." It's just not,
yeah,
and that's one of those things, and they have their
yeah,
own religious beliefs.
yeah,
They have their own spirituality beliefs of what happens with death. And that was one of those times where you kind of see where the client's at, you kind of see manifesting wise, spirituality wise, wherever.
yeah,
And you just kind of sit with them.
yeah,
You physically, to me at least, I felt like I transported to them. Even though we're on the phone, it's
yeah,
like I'm sitting with them through the death,
yeah.
you
No,
know?
yeah, I felt that too. It's like where you're like when you're encountering people who are at their worst at certain times, it's like
Yeah.
okay, you're sitting here and you're going to go through it with them, and it's
Mhm.
And that's why I've said before, it's like sometimes, like there was times where I turned down coaching. If I don't have a full right mindset, I'm not going to take a client because
Mhm,
that's scamming of me, I think, or I feel like fake of me to take a
mhm,
client. I'm not 100% mentally with them at that moment. I'm not giving them the full service. And then
yeah,
it's like when I am there too, there's like a time where I would limit it. Like I don't usually like spend my day with clients, but if I'm doing a live stream, I'm tapping into like painful memories because I'm meeting you where you are. If I'm doing a client, I'm going back into those things and meeting you where you are. And I
mhm,
think that there's something to be said as a, for coaches who do that versus they tell you everything. There's coaches who read out of a book and tell you what the book says. There's
mhm,
people who've been through. I think the best coaches and teachers in life are people who've been through it and done it. Everybody could tell you what they read in a book and what the theoretical thing is,
mhm.
but very rarely can somebody actually go and meet you where they were or be, and even if they know the stuff, are they real and authentic enough to say it?
Yeah, and walk the path with you to get you out. That's the
Yeah.
thing. And come back into the forest, grab you, and take you out.
Yeah.
That's the whole point.
Down day, it's like that's why, and it does, you physically feel exhausted. So it's like for me, it's like I'm working a day job, doing the live streams, making videos. The videos you're tapping into it too. Then you're going in and seeing how many people you can pull out or taking sessions. So it's like, yeah, it does
Yeah,
get.
yeah,
Uh,
absolutely.
we got the question here though. Can I ask? Not sure if a Q&A, but what's your view on time with regards to manifesting, and what are your experiences between manifesting and experiencing? I think that one might be for you, but I could answer it too.
For me?
Yeah.
Okay, so what's because I don't have my bifocals on, so
Oh, okay.
what's my view on time regarding manifesting? Like,
I could
well, I
relate.
could go a few
Like,
different ways with this, like how quick manifestations come to fruition, or
yeah, well, because me and him, we talk a lot too, and we've
Mhm,
talked about time before. So, um, I could tell you his personal take on it, and
mhm.
agree that I also agree with it too. It's like, does time matter? Because everybody always says, um, the time from manifestation.
Manifesting to fruition. Mhm,
Yeah. So it was like, okay, time
mhm,
matters. Time doesn't matter because time isn't real, but at the
mhm,
same time, you are still getting older, was his point. And I'm like, I also
mhm,
agree with that. But you know what really sucks? And this is the message I've been trying to push lately is realizing looking back now, I did get everything I ever wanted.
mhm,
And get it, you don't remember the time. It's just like, yeah, I have it now. You don't even feel like I was transported there. But you think about, I missed parties, friends, family, other potential relationships,
mhm,
um, business opportunities,
mhm,
um, all kinds of opportunities and things you missed because it's like, no, I gotta go home and do stats. I gotta focus. I got a script. I gotta do
mhm,
this, or I'm just depressed and I don't want to do anything. So in the end, I did get older. Time did pass. I still got
mhm,
my manifestation. Didn't really notice the time, but in hindsight, looking back, it's like you could still have your manifestation and not have wasted all that time. That's my personal view on it. I don't know
mhm,
how you feel, but for me, it's always been like I've always said, my manifestations come within 2 weeks to 6 weeks when I'm really buckled down, know exactly what I want, and I'm focused in on it, dialed in.
mhm,
But there's been times where it's like, yes, it has been a little bit longer, but I don't count those other times before the 2 to 6 weeks because that's where I'm shooting at the range, hoping I hit a target,
mhm.
but going it and dialing in. That's been my
Yeah.
so I don't
Well,
know.
so it comes in 2 to 6 weeks because that is your belief, right? So that
Yeah,
you're like, "It's always gonna come."
yeah, I took it from other people I've seen succeed, and I took that. There's other people who they believe it can't be done on a time crunch. I believe it can, but if it does, but there's been times where I believed it. I know it. There've been times I believe it and I know it will work, but
Mhm,
it doesn't happen exactly on the time. But it'll be. But if you hold your faith, it will happen the next day or week or something, and then you
mhm,
won't realize it's not a huge amount of time. But because it didn't happen that day, that's why a time schedule I believe is
mhm,
dangerous because you destroy yourself because like, oh, I didn't get it, god damn it, and it's like,
mhm,
and then your self concept goes down the toilet, all your work goes down the toilet, stop doing technique, so you're not putting yourself in the state, and then you just fell into whatever state you let the 3D knock you into. That's why time crunches, I believe, are dangerous, and
yeah,
even I don't do them a lot unless I absolutely have to.
mhm. So the time as I understand it so sometimes I come from a physics background. So time does exist, but it can be condensed, right? So it's the fourth dimension is time. So we got height, width, depth, three, and then time is fourth dimension. So it does exist because we need a logistic, right? So like so first, second, third dimension is we're gonna meet at the movies. We're gonna meet at the movies at 8 o'clock is fourth dimension, so that we can both enter and we so time is on a continuum, right? So we
Yeah,
can both enter the continuum at the same time. We
yeah,
can enter the storyline at the same time and have a meeting place. Fifth dimension is where it all collapses and your whole story and everybody is existing in the same space.
yeah,
So if we can agree on that just from a physics standpoint.
yeah,
Um and here's the thing, you don't have to agree on it. Just for the
yeah.
argument's sake, right?
Everything works, yeah, but for this the
So
experiment,
things have to happen one after the next because even though we have fourth, fifth, all the way up to like whatever dimension,
yeah, they just need
our
more.
our eyes, our ears, our all the frequencies that we can take in and decode that this is the world. Okay, colors, sound, shapes, everything are in the third dimension. We're only third dimensional beings. We're just shaved monkeys. We are not sophisticated computers at all, right? So when you're talking about time, which is a dimension higher, it everything has to happen in a certain uh you know this then this then this then this because I think otherwise our monkey brains would explode.
Yeah,
Things if you were like, I want a Lamborghini and boom, there's one outside,
yeah,
we would go crazy. So we kind of need a little bit of a delay or we need those things to happen. And also the universe has to line those things up.
yeah. It,
So
it has to happen in a way that makes sense to us,
mhm,
and that's where the time lag comes in, I think.
mhm,
And then also it kind of goes to more of a philosophical point to me too. If you want it, you got it. You want it, you got it. Yeah, that's a good mentality to have, and you will within no time. I mean,
mhm,
there will be a time delay, but it will feel like no time will come. But
mhm,
on it, you got it mentality. But if you were legitimately getting everything you wanted right there, it's like that Twilight Zone episode where the guy thinks he went to heaven because he wants to gamble. He wins everything. He wants a girl. He gets every girl he wants. And then he's
yeah.
like, "Aren't I going to lose? Do you want to lose?" That he was actually in hell, and that's why like
Mhm,
really rich people, it's like they have so many problems because
yeah.
they've won the game. You didn't even get to play the game. We're lucky. This is why like changing your mindset. Growing
Hmm.
I'm lucky because everything is winning. I could start it. I could start at the beginning of the game and finish the game. But if you started at the end of the game with everything unlocked, yeah, it's cool for a minute, but it's not. The game is boring now. It's like after you beat like GTA and you could just free roam and you have all the cars, all the guns, all the money. It's like,
Hmm.
all right, well, what now? The
Yeah.
fun thing in the game then becomes driving with the traffic. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
so,
You know a little bit about my business background, and I
yeah,
started in industrial psychology with a lot of executives, right? If I told you how many very big people had everything I mean, you name it, anything they want at their disposal. How many times I got phone calls, fly out here, I need you. I
yeah,
would fly. That's how these people they just sent, and they would be snot ball, ugly crying
hmm,
in a five-star hotel, just curled up in a ball, saying, I don't have love.
yeah,
If I had a quarter for every time I saw that, I could retire.
yeah.
You know? Yeah.
And that's like the thing where it's like all the stuff. It's like you could have everything in line with that finances and all that stuff, and it's like, why is Tony Robbins a billionaire when every president and world leader has him on speed dial and a million
Mhm.
dollar a year retainer
Mhm.
just there to help them through family and financial issue, well, not financial, but family issues and
Mhm.
personal life matters and how to deal with stressful situations.
Mhm.
That's where it's like someone like him who started with a poor background, worked his way up, and has lived every part of the game. People who haven't seen the other part, they didn't they didn't learn and acquire the skills the rest of us did at the bottom to
Mhm.
be there. So that's why it's like for we have to take all of our misfortunes as fortunes and blessings because
Mhm.
they are building a character and building strength in us to
Yep.
become best versions of ourselves. Things that
Mhm.
can't be bought.
Yeah. And they're us. That's the other thing. Like when
Yeah,
we witness people going through that, it's actually teaching us a lesson.
yeah, we learned something from watching what they did, and they're learning from us. So it's like everyone as you pushed out, we're all in this together, and it's like,
Mhm.
and it's funny. It's like whatever your assumptions are too. It's like I've worked with rich people before on this, and it's like more around the time I first started, I would do like it was it was paid sessions but donations because I was still up and coming and I was like, I didn't
Mm,
really time was worth. I felt guilty about coaching and stuff. But it's
mhm,
like you're getting tired of, like I said, judging yourself into negative, horrible memories to help people and meet them at that level.
mhm,
Well, it's like when I worked with rich people, it was like, 80 to $100, whatever you feel, no more, no less. It's just kind of like whatever you feels all right. And that thing, the rich people were giving me 80. I worked with someone who she was ready to lose her job, destitute, so not destitute, but like she was like, wasn't sure if she was keeping her job, pays me the 100. Then
yeah.
reaches out for advice, goes, I understand if you can't do it. I send a 10-minute audio. I had time. It's not no big deal.
Mhm,
She sends me $50 and I'm like, don't send me no money. Like, because I was still up and coming. I didn't have a ton of viewers at the time. It was only a couple hundred
mhm,
people.
mhm,
Like, and it's like that was like the most generous people were the ones who didn't have the money. And it was like
mhm,
that's kind of the assumption that I grew up with too. Somebody who grew up around rich people and only saw generous rich people would think
mhm.
it was wrong and experience the opposite.
Yeah, yeah. I think we got a couple I just see
Oh,
the
let's see.
chat going like crazy. I can't read it, so.
Yeah, let me see. I think the issue comes when many people don't know what the meaning in terms of resistance, frequency, vibration means. I was debating with the guy that I liked who was trying to convince me not to think about my guy because it had been some weeks. So I definitely said, he's gonna call, and my SP called as soon as I said it, and you have a knowing of it yourself. Once you know the manifestation, it happens very fast. Yeah, that's true. It's like
Mhm,
times where it's like as soon as you think about something, boom, it's there. It's like I hadn't talked to my uncle in months, and like there's like really no reason for us to talk or anything. I still never called him back. Actually, it's not me being a dick. It's just me remembering it right now. But it's like I was on my way to SP's house to hang out with her, and I usually always have my phone with me. I left it in her room charging. We're having drinks and eating and stuff like that, listening to music, watching movies, and then we go in the room later. It's like, give me a call, and it's like, well, I haven't talked to you in months, but earlier today I thought about you on the ride here. Boom,
mhm,
put my phone away, it's there. Or like people I haven't heard from in a long time. It's like, why? Because there's no resistance to it. It's just it's something it's a wouldn't it be wonderful if and then
mhm,
dropping it. And it's like, okay, wouldn't it be wonderful if and then you're walking in faith unintentionally because
mhm.
you assume and know it could be real and it happens. And
And
something
that's
in their life that makes them think of you.
I think that's what so we talked about like first, second, third dimension and fourth dimension is time, right?
Yeah.
I think that so if the whole entire universe comes from inside of our head and we're co-creating it, that time element comes from us too. Because you've been to a concert and having the best time of your life and it goes by like that, and you've been in study hall and it goes on for 6 hours, even though it's 45 minutes, right?
Yep.
So we create the time. So is it I mean, I think, but I want to hear from you guys, when we finally drop, we call it dropping the importance.
Yeah.
That's what collapses and it becomes fifth dimension and it
Yeah.
all happens at once.
Yeah. It's like because when it's super important and it's this thing and it's up here and the whole point of the pedestal is
Mhm.
now like what is the subconscious association with a pedestal or achieving something? You have to do a bunch of stuff to get it.
Love
Like
you.
trophy, you have to win the tournament. You have to beat all these other teams and do all this fighting to get it. Versus, wouldn't it be wonderful if I had that? When it comes with wouldn't it be wonderful if it's like I'm just thinking about what it's like to have it subconsciously, even if it's a quick split, like that's where the time isn't real. You're split
Mhm.
feeling it. You may have had an entire like 2, 3 hours of experience in that split because that's just that powerful subconscious
Mhm.
impression it made. And then not thinking about it again is detaching and walking in faith, but that detaching and walking in faith is unintentionally assuming that you have it because you
Mhm.
thought
No resistance.
it,
Mhm.
yeah, and you didn't have the resistance to it. So that's why it's um like in all different things, it's like really religious people. Like I knew a manifesting coach, slash well, not new, I still know him. He was moving more towards Christianity because he felt an appeal to it versus manifesting coaching, and he wanted to work with people who are Christian and talk about and teach them about manifesting because like you could see it throughout the Bible and everything. And I said, you know what? I think the Christian people and religious people would have no matter not just Christian but any religion, religious people will have more success with manifesting something because they, even though Neville's like, oh, don't go put your faith in an external God. Well,
Mhm.
the external God, it's like it's easier for you to surrender because it's like, okay, I know that this is all powerful. It's harder to accept that you're all powerful, especially with a shitty self concept, and it's hard
Mhm.
that God, this infinite being, would be a part of you, if especially with a shitty self concept. So it's like when you give it up to there, he's over there, he's gonna take care of me. Then it's easier to detach.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think we got a couple I just see it going while you're talking.
So I was trying to like that's always what the hard part for me is like keeping focus on that.
Mhm,
My SP journey was about addressing limiting beliefs and love from my childhood trauma. I addressed those the unreleased energy that I used to have made me blind to my own good. I'm not anymore. Nick, this is real. You know I'm excellent at manifesting the seed of importance and doubt when your power nothing when you know your power, nothing is important. You just enjoy it. Exactly. Yeah. You
mhm,
just enjoy you just yeah, you're not trying to prove anything to anyone. You're enjoying your life, living your life. And that's why I talk you miss a lot of stuff when you're focused on SP or the money or lack of money. Because focusing on something and doing stuff that, like even obsessively thinking about it,
mhm,
it I don't know, like creates too much clutter when it's like the, you're putting all these resources into one thing. It's
mhm,
like you got to go fix something and it's maybe just a clogged toilet, but you're bringing everything to pull the toilet apart and go in
mhm.
there and rebuild the insides of the toilet. And it's like, oh no, it was just I just had to hit it with a plunger, and it was like something so simple, but you're so focused on the problem, you're doing all this work that doesn't need to be done.
Yeah.
Now they're like, and like she mentions the childhood trauma stuff like that. I agree with Naya on her channel where she talked about the childhood trauma. If it works for you and you identify with it, and you think that's your issue and you think that's your block, then that would be what will get you there. If you don't think you need to work on it, then you don't. It's like that's why I said you're setting your own rules.
Mhm,
But sometimes I think a lot of people struggle with finding their blocks, and that's where coaching with you or me or
mhm.
comes in handy because a, a exterior source identifies where you're struggling.
Yeah. I've had earlier on in before COVID, I used to have a psychology office. So I had like a lot of clients coming in. Nowadays it's pretty much over the phone, but I had a
Yeah,
lot. It's really weird, and this kind of factors into what we're talking about also. I would have waves of people. So I would have like a lot of divorcees, right? And or I would have a lot of
yeah,
like people going through medical illness, like, they never had an illness before and it messed them up. So I had it for a while, for like a whole entire summer. I had nothing but PTSD, either first responders. It actually started with first responders and then it became military personnel. And I found a way of, and I'm not saying I invented this by any means, because it's just basically what we're talking about. I found a way of resolving trauma pretty quickly because and I'll use this one person as an example. I'm going to talk kind of around it because I don't want to give up
yeah,
their identity, but
yeah,
they
yeah.
have been through is it an IEP, like
Oh yeah,
the
road.
explosion? Yeah, the roadside explosion.
Yeah,
Um,
IEDs.
so what they had, and this is kind of almost like a double revision. Um, they were sitting in the back of a convoy and had an explosion. It was very bad. But when they were sitting there and they were waiting, they knew they were going into enemy. It was very tense. They were going into enemy territory. It was really scary. Let's say 20 guys lined up on each side staring at each other.
Mhm.
When the explosion happened, this person I was working with was looking at the soldier across from him and noticed the color of his eyes. He had, I'll just say he had blue eyes. I don't remember at this point, but let's just say he
Yeah,
had brilliant, very, very pale blue eyes. And so when the explosion happened, he got stuck. That time, like we're talking about the time collapsing, that time collapsed. So it wasn't so much the explosion that was triggering him when he got out of the military and came back to the US and was living life. Anytime he had to stare at somebody with very white blue eyes, he would lose it. He would have a bad day. He would go into depression, whatever
yeah,
the severity of his symptoms were. So we actually resolved for blue eyes, not for the explosive trauma.
yeah. They see that's
And
nice.
he was
But
fine, like, never had a problem again,
yeah,
And a part of it was sitting in the trauma, wasn't trying to distract, wasn't trying to be like, "I'm gonna play games," or I'm gonna, again, traditional therapy methods of, like, talking,
yeah.
and re-triggering yourself. It wasn't that.
Here's a
It was more sit in the pain. I'm sorry, what did you say?
here's a plan of action. Let's take it.
Yeah, and it was sitting in the pain. It was like, "Okay, was somebody staring at me with blue eyes?" Am I dead? No. Am I uh am I going to lose a limb? No. I'm safe. Like and it took like 10 minutes of okay, okay, I'm still safe. I'm still safe. I'm
Yeah,
still safe. And then being like, okay, that feeling won't hurt me
yeah,
and moving through that. So,
yeah. Like feeling is a state. Like Neville said, the state,
mhm,
just choose what state to be in, and
exactly.
moving. You could choose what state you want to go to, but it's just traveling to a new city
Yeah.
and being there, and that's the thing. And I like that method. That's a very interesting technique and method
Mhm,
to get someone out. See, that's more on the not it's not more consulting than
mhm,
or counseling than manifesting, but
mhm.
your vision. And
Yeah.
that's a revision story, which, like I said, I've always struggled with revision. But sometimes what I've experienced with revision, it's something more like that versus like the traditional, like, oh, I went back and I redid this whole thing and it never happened. Rather, my stuff has been things that other areas of my life unlocked because whatever was being blocked in that past. Going
Mhm,
back, to what my Empress said was about your past trauma. You're going back and unblocking a past trauma and
mhm.
opening channels to new things to come in.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So,
All right. Is there more down?
oh no,
I
that's
see
no,
that.
no,
I feel
that's
bad for them
that's
like
no,
chat,
she
chat,
said,
chat.
no, the only other thing she said was, "But the Bible says we are God," which it does. No, that
Mhm,
and she said that's in the past. She's block free, and that's good that you're
mhm.
block free. Um, so I would say, let me see. I think we kind of. I don't know if there's anything else you want to say. I don't know. We made it to the one
I
hour.
can talk for hours. I mean,
Yeah,
you tell
I
me.
know I could too, and as I know we have before. And if you want to come on again, we could do another
Yeah, I
one.
would love to do this. Yeah.
But yeah, just kind of getting it out there where it's like for me on weekdays, it's kind of hard with a time crunch.
Mhm,
But tomorrow I'm gonna try again,
mhm.
and to go live, we're down to one viewer too. So it's almost like I think everyone else is fizzling out too. It's
Oh
getting
no.
so.
Okay.
I think if you want to come back maybe next week,
Mhm,
we could do another one. I Friday or Saturday, I'm going to aim to go live with Inked.
mhm.
Like she talks to ghosts, so it's like because Ink does the thing where she walks with the spirit box through the cemeteries, and I think that's interesting. I used to watch that.
Oh,
Uh,
I love that. I'll be watching that one. I'll be commenting.
yeah, that one would be cool. I can't wait for that. Divine Fempress says you guys rock. You rock, Divine Fempress.
Thank you.
The books you said. Oh, and then
Oh, I have, should I
did you
hold
want
them up?
the books that you went with? Yeah, you brought a whole bunch. Oh,
This
actually,
one,
while you do
I
that,
will tell you. This is this right side up or reversed in the I can't tell.
yeah, holographic universe, the holographic
By
universe.
Michael Talbot. Make sure you get this one.
Yeah, screenshot it, guys, or write it down.
This one was written in 1992, I think. He died going to tinfoil hat territory. He died very mysteriously after this.
Like Gonzo.
Um, mhm. He died very. He really went in, and this book I mean, it has the background of all the physics uh, that they figured this stuff out long, long, long ago. And it to me, this is the most complete book if you want to understand how your brain maps the video game
Yeah,
200 feet in front of you.
yeah.
This one was life changing to me more than any. These are older. Oh, Robert B. Stone. We can maybe talk about him next time. Robert B. Stone. This is hypnocybernetics. In
Okay.
the 60s, there was this big push for cybernetics, which is like your brain being a machine.
Yeah.
Robert B. Stone. We can talk about him some other time. Love him.
Now he's more or less like the foundations of stuff that probably Dolores Cannon and all them studied, right? Because that's more hypnotherapy.
Robert B. Stone was just, I mean, he was an all around weirdo. I mean, he was a catch-all. He was that uncle that you would be like, yeah, they're coming over.
Yeah, yeah,
He was wonderful. He wrote a diet book called Whipped Cream and Martinis. I mean, like
yeah,
we stand Robert Stone big time. But so he has some cybernetic stuff too. It's lighter. It's much easier to read than Maxwell Maltz. You know, he gets a little wordy sometimes.
yeah. That's the part I was kind of falling asleep while I was working, listening to him and driving. So it's like
Yeah.
um, Maxwell. It's still a good topic though, but it's almost like can be summed up in the thing. He's a plastic surgeon. He changes people's looks. That changes their
Mhm.
feelings. Their reality changes.
Yeah. That's
Well,
done.
but it's obviously there's little stuff in there, like little stories
Mhm.
there, success
Yeah.
stories, motivation.
Robert B. Stone is just think of that uncle when you were a little kid that you just couldn't wait till they came over. That's him. Like everything he talks about, you're like, it's like a dirty little secret. It's great.
Yeah, yeah.
This guy, some people may or may not know about him, Frederick Dotson.
Oh, I've
He's
heard. before, and I know the basics. There's other coaches who have talked about him, and I've listened in.
Yeah, he's heavier. He's more regimented, but but also extremely good. And this is like we were going to talk about what we did about self concept. Very big on self concept.
And it seems like that's what underlies in all of them. Neville talks about self concept, psycho-cybernetics. I got it.
Mhm.
Uh, and then that one, so it's like, yeah, it's always there. Self concept is the one
Mhm.
component. You could change your techniques, your methods, whether it's religious, spiritual, witchcraft, whatever it is. The only thing that
Mhm.
on all of them is your belief in yourself and the practice you're doing. So self concept is the only thing that I think that would. That's why you can't underestimate. Yeah, underestimate. You can't underestimate it.
No, absolutely not. And just so you know, just my phone just gave me a little blip. Like I got like 5% battery left.
Oh,
But
okay. Wrapping
no,
up.
you're fine. You're fine. So if I just
Yeah,
if it
just
goes
go for.
black, I didn't hang up on you. That's all.
Yeah, let's see. Hold on a second. Here, I'll do this. You plug the books. If you want to plug anything too, I'll say, guys, I'm happy with how this merch is turning out.
Mm-hmm.
I probably will be launching it, but I'm waiting like 2 weeks. Discord is very close.
Mm-hmm.
Me and Gary have been putting in work to figure it out. This is like a windbreaker, but live your legacy with the back of this, the Mystic Wolf. And then these pants that came with it are, you guys saw the hoodie. I'm not going to show you that. I wore it yesterday's live. If you didn't watch it, rewatch it. It's a big wolf on there, but it will motivate you to get your thighs bigger. So to fill the wolf up. But it's kind of like a silky like style. So I like that. I'm happy with how this merch is
You,
turning out better than the
you
other I was trying.
you should put the emblem over a little bit.
Turn it over. Okay. No, no.
No, 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 no,
Hold
no.
on, let me show
Hold
you.
it up. Put it more toward the center.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Brings his nose up. Yeah.
Well, girls have those, the words on the butt, like,
Yeah.
you
So
know.
make the wolf show his teeth.
Yeah,
That
why not?
would be an interesting design. Gary said merch. Great live, interesting. Well, I'm glad you like it, John. He said merch. Plug the merch. Drop the
Yeah.
merch. But yeah, I was like, I kind of like how that stuff's looking, and then me and Gary have been putting in work to try and figure out this whole uh, what is it? Discord. Discord is just aggravating me.
Yeah.
Trying to
I
figure it
get
out. I think we're close. We're right up. Like it doesn't take other people this long to figure it out, but I'm not a big tech guy and
that.
balancing a bunch of stuff. So that could be launching soon. Do you have anything you want to plug too besides that? Like you showed the books.
Me, just me. If the only merch is me, if anybody out there wants help, going through anything, especially if it is, you don't want to go to a therapist about it because therapists, again, you can't talk about the woo woo. I can't talk about any of this stuff with a regular therapist. We can talk about anything, past trauma, current trauma, addictions, anything like that. But everything I'm going to tell you is going to come down to love and self concept, 100%. But
Yeah.
it's going to be just like this. I mean, even when I talk to people, I think the first time you and I talked, it's like you're just getting coffee with an old friend. I'm not,
Yeah.
just going to be what it is. But my whole thing is an hour with me is like 10 hours of regular therapy. You'll leave with a plan. You'll leave with higher self concept. You'll have actionable steps so you won't
Yeah.
have the cliffhanger anxiety. And so you're going to put my stuff down below,
Yeah.
but my phone number will be down there. Just text me.
And yeah, and I'll put it all in there, and I'll put the rest
Mhm.
of. And you guys know if you want to get a session with me, it's mysticmanifesting@gmail.com, or go to my Instagram, which is not the same name. It's flex underscore Lassiter, Lassiter. That was my wrestling name, which I never wrestled, but my wrestler friend gave it to me.
Mhm.
Um, Go over there and DM me for coaching too if you want that. I'm gonna try and find a way to make it more simple too, where you could just book it on like that Calendarly app. And I like Gary says, get on the Discord. It's less than six
Mhm.
months, which is true. I should just post it. It's just I want to make sure that the stripe goes so that people aren't paying the money to nothing. Because the point is, if I can make some money on it, we can put that money back into the channel, or it can sustain a lifestyle that can be making content all day long, nonstop. So I think let's see. So plug your coaching, plug my coaching, plug the merch, plug the almost ready Discord, and we went over some good stuff. You
Yeah.
list out the books.
Mhm.
Then we'll post. I'll post up the books too if you text me the names of those, and then I'll just put Zenobia on the bio. I'll put Zenobia Consulting with,
Mhm.
and then
I'll give
that.
you a link to the website. Yeah.
Oh, and there's a website too. Okay, yeah, I'll put the link to the website, and then you
Mhm.
want that phone number with it too?
Yeah, we'll put the phone number. Oh yeah, if
Okay,
anybody's
yeah.
watching
You
this.
you can hold it up too. I've done that before with
Oh,
stuff.
it's I just put it on a note card. I'm thinking read. But the phone number for Zenobia is area code 321, and then it's 296-9982. Text me. If you call me, I'm probably going to be on the phone. If you text me, I will get right back to you. As long as I'm not sleeping, I will answer you. So yeah, that's kind of how I roll.
Sounds good. That's
Mhm.
similar to me too. And
Yeah.
sometimes I wait on my messages, but I think this is pretty good live, and we'll definitely do
Mhm.
it again. And I'll try to be more consistent, guys. More lives. And if you want, you're posting more on your channel now, right?
I just started. I used to like years ago, and because of you,
Yeah.
listen to this guy, everybody. He got me out of a slump, and he got me more excited about things.
Perfect. Well, just doing the mystic duties. So I'll put a link to your page too. I'll put the link to your page and your website and your phone number, so they can, if they want coaching with you. And you guys, I'd say it in every video, so you already know how to reach me.
Yeah,
Well,
and
Courtney,
I'll bring more books next week if you guys want to talk about it.
perfect. Yeah, and then I'll try to start reading the ones you showed now and finish the one I started.
We should have a book club. We should have like a mystic book club.
That would be cool. Once a week we talk about it, but maybe we do it bi-weekly. We'll do a new book
Yeah.
each week, but we only review the other one bi-weekly because if they're like me, they're slow readers.
Some of this stuff is a little heavy, so maybe we'll do like 3 chapters
Yeah, yeah.
and
Oh, that's
discuss.
how book clubs work, right? I never did a book club before.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah. You only go through a chapter or something a week, or
Mm-hmm.
just Discord.
Discord, yeah.
Spam the Discord.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and we will also get that up and running. So, well, thank you, Courtney. It's been fun,
Thank you for having me, guys. Thank you very much.
and we'll see you hopefully next week.
Absolutely. Have a great night.
You too. Bye.
Bye bye.
Now I'll turn it off. There we go.